Imagine discovering an entire family murdered on an isolated farmhouse. But the most terrifying part wasn't the murders. It was the fact that the killer stayed inside the house for days, and more than 100 years later, no one knows who they were.
Germany, 1922. Deep in the Bavarian countryside stood a lonely farmhouse called Hinterkaifeck. It was quiet, isolated, and surrounded by dense forests and open fields. The Gruber family had lived there for years, living a simple farming life far from the nearest village. But strange things had already begun happening around the farm. Andreas Gruber, the head of the family, discovered mysterious footprints in the fresh snow leading from the forest directly to the farmhouse. What terrified him wasn't the footprints themselves. It was the fact that there were no footprints leading back into the forest. Someone had come to the farm, but apparently never left. Over the next few days, even stranger events unfolded. A set of house keys disappeared. An unfamiliar newspaper appeared inside the home. And late at night, the family reported hearing footsteps coming from the attic. They searched the house, but found no one. Just days later, the entire family would be dead. After discovering the strange footprints, Andreas Gruber became increasingly worried. He told neighbors that someone had been watching the farm. Days before the murders, the family's maid suddenly quit her job. She claimed the farmhouse was haunted. She said she kept hearing footsteps in the attic and strange noises during the night. No one believed her. On March 31st, 1922, a new maid arrived at the farm. It was her very first day. She had no idea that it would also be her last. As evening fell, the farmhouse looked peaceful from the outside, but inside, someone may already have been hiding in the darkness. Before sunrise, 6 innocent people would lose their lives, and the world would be left with one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Night had fallen over Hinterkaifeck. The snow covered every path leading to the lonely farmhouse. Inside, the family believed they were safe, but someone was already waiting. One by one, members of the Gruber family were lured from the house toward the barn. No one knows exactly what happened inside, but investigators later discovered that 4 members of the family had been killed there. The attack was sudden, brutal, and left no chance to escape. The killer then entered the farmhouse. Inside, the new maid was attacked before she could even spend her first full night at the farm. The youngest victim, little Joseph, was also killed in his bedroom. By sunrise, the entire family was gone. But the nightmare didn't end there. The murderer didn't run away. Instead, someone remained inside the farmhouse for several days. Neighbors later noticed smoke rising from the chimney. The cattle had been fed, meals had been prepared, and fresh bread had been cut. It was as if someone was quietly living inside the house, surrounded by the victims. When neighbors finally entered the farmhouse days later, they uncovered one of the most horrifying crime scenes in history. Yet even after an enormous investigation, the killer simply vanished. News of the horrific murders spread quickly across Germany. Detectives arrived at Hinterkaifeck, but the crime scene had already been disturbed by curious neighbors. Valuable evidence had been lost forever. More than 100 people were questioned. Farmers, travelers, family members, even former workers from the farm. But every lead ended in silence. Over the years, investigators developed several theories. Some believed the killer was a stranger hiding in the forest. Others suspected someone the family already knew. One of the most discussed suspects was Lawrence Schlittenbauer, a neighbor who had a complicated relationship with the Gruber family. His behavior after the bodies were discovered raised many questions, yet no evidence was ever strong enough to charge him. The case slowly grew cold. Decades passed. New investigations were launched. Modern forensic experts even re-examined the evidence. But the mystery remained unsolved. More than 100 years later, no one knows who entered Hinterkaifeck farm that night. No one knows why the killer stayed inside the house. And no one knows who committed one of history's most terrifying unsolved murders. Some mysteries are never solved, and Hinterkaifeck remains one of them.
Some mysteries are never solved, and Hinterkaifeck is one of them. But what do you think really happened that night? Was the killer a stranger? Or someone the family already knew? Let us know your theory in the comments. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to DarkFilesCrime, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next investigation. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next mystery.